Cityline. You know, as we have sheltered in place, I have been thinking about Sound Transit, all of their projects, how have they weathered this, and a million other questions. So please join me in welcoming our guest, Scott Thompson. He is the Public Information Officer of Sound Transit. Scott, welcome to Cityline from my kitchen.
Nice to see you, Amanda. Nice to be with you.
It's great to see you as well. Last time I saw you, you were on the comfy couch. So this is an adjustment, but we have all become so adaptable. So first off, how are you doing since the pandemic hit?
Well, you're speaking, I think, of the agency, not just me personally. So, we've managed to keep all our construction projects rolling right along during the pandemic. We had a brief shutdown of a couple weeks for all our construction projects when, the governor closed everything down and we had to put new protocols in place for our construction workers, new safety protocols, new cleaning protocols. So it took a little while to get all that organized. But after that, we've been working right along. And I think if you're, have been up through the Stadium District or Hilltop, you've seen a lot of progress in the last year. We just announced recently that we're now 75% complete with this project. We're getting very close to finishing up a lot of the track work in the streets. We've completed track work all the way on Martin Luther King Jr. Way from 19th back to around Division. We've still got a little work there in that intersection around Division and down around Commerce and 9th. But a lot of the major work for the track is coming to an end. You'll start seeing, I think in the next few months, you'll start seeing some overhead power lines go up on all those power poles we've put in place. You'll start seeing more work on the station platforms and station canopies. You'll also start seeing work on, we've got, I think a total of 5 traction power substations that go along the new alignment. You'll start seeing those enclosures start to come in and be put together. So I sort of have couched it. We're on the home stretch here for this project.
That's something I thought I would never hear Sound Transit say during a pandemic. You and I were talking before we got on the air, and I was telling you about when the shelter-in-place order came down from our governor. I was headed to Stadium Thriftway, and I was at that intersection of Division and I Street. And it dawned on me as I was making a left-hand turn that there was no construction. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, how will this affect the project? But share with our viewers what the end result was in terms of a silver lining.
Well, I think, this project having, going through the heart of neighborhoods, being in active roadways in the city has been very impactful. And we understand that. I think if there's been any silver lining for during this, pandemic and stay at home is that it's we've managed to keep the work going without impacting as many people or impacting as many people who are traveling. So that's gotten us, I think, farther along. And I think when people, as things now start to open up more, I think people will realize that it's, things are open up. We're not in everybody's way as we used to be. We're still working on that. We've got work. I think we're getting through with work in front of Tacoma General and some of the hospitals down there. That's been very impactful for employees and patients using those facilities. But we were able to do work in front of Stadium High School during the school year when they weren't running buses and having students there. So I think some of that has helped us move this along maybe a little faster than it might have been otherwise.
That is definitely a silver lining. So, Scott, when you talk about Tacoma General and you talk about some of those areas, you're referencing the Hilltop Tacoma Link. Is that correct?
That's it. Yes, I'm talking about the Hilltop Tacoma Link Extension. Correct.
So what percentage of that is almost done?
Well, we're right about 75%. We've got almost all the track work done. And as I mentioned, we have start seeing some other work going on. The other big thing that's going to happen this year over the summer that I wanted to mention is we will have some some time where we're going to have to shut the current Tacoma Link system down for a period of probably about 10 days, where we're going to have to tie in sections of the existing track to new track. So we've also, as part of this project, expanded. You may know we have an operations and maintenance facility there on 25th down around Freight House Square area. Well, we've expanded that facility quite a bit too. I think of over 100,000 new square feet. We're getting 5 new vehicles as part of this project as well that will come in later this fall. And we have a new what we call a rail yard, where the trains come in and they get cleaned and maintenance performed. Well, to tie in that rail yard with the existing line causes us to have to shut down the system entirely for a period of time. So that's going to be one shutdown. Later on, we're also going to have to tie in the existing line that ends now at Commerce Street to the new line, the new extension. So that will cause another shutdown. I don't know exactly when that's scheduled for yet, but there's going to be a couple of instances before we finish that we'll have to shut the system down for about 10 days. We will put this summer, and I believe the summer ones gets slated for June. We will put a bus bridge into place where we will run buses to all the Tacoma Link stops for people to get where they need to go. But that's a necessary part of the project we have to do to tie everything together.
Scott, every time I talk with you, I feel like it's a project game of Tetris. In terms of you move one, you get 5 more projects you've got to do to get one to completion. It's incredible. You mentioned that there's going to be an open house coming, which I think that all of our viewers should attend, because any chance that we get to give you feedback is gold. So tell us about it.
So, yeah, this is a separate project we're working on from the Hilltop. So we're also looking at a couple of projects around our sounder stations in South Tacoma and Lakewood. Folks may know, the current line goes all the way down to Lakewood, all the way up to Seattle. But we're looking at what can we do to increase access for people to get to those sounder stations in South Tacoma and Lakewood. So what we just opened up yesterday, and it's an online open house, and people can find it on our website. If they click on our system expansion link there, they'll be able to find it. But it's an online open house to hear from people what kind of access projects would they like us to do. Do they need more bike lanes? Do we need better sidewalks for pedestrian traffic? Do we need better places for people to drop off passengers to get on sounder? And how can we integrate with those neighborhoods surrounding sounder to get more people to there? Do we need to look at, is there ways we can increase parking capacity in some way by leasing unused spaces that may be around the area? So those are things we want to hear from folks about. And if they can go online and respond to that, that's a big help in us moving things forward and going back to our board of directors and saying, here's what we're hearing from the public about projects they'd like to see us do, and then we can give us some insight to move forward with those decisions. That online open house will run through April 20th.
And so, Scott, once that open house is finished on April 20th and it goes to your board, the feedback, what's the next step after that? I mean, I'm trying to get an idea of how that project will flow for our audience.
Right. So, we're already engaging with stakeholders, city officials, other folks about what they want to see. We'll take all of that and compile all that information together, present it to our board. Here's what the public would like to see. Here's our recommendations. What can we do with the funding that we currently have? And then the board will make some decisions about what to move forward in the planning process and what not to. We're not going to have an unlimited budget to do everything everybody wants. So we have to kind of pick and choose what we can afford to do. And this is information that will all go toward helping the board finalize their decision on what to move forward with.
Scott, do you anticipate any further or any delays that could possibly show up during the next 6 months?
For Hilltop Tacoma Link?
Yes.
Not at this point. I think everything's moving forward. we have the new vehicles are scheduled to arrive. I mean, there's always things we can't foresee at this point. We're still scheduled to open it in May of next year, May of 2022. That's our goal. We'll finish up, construction long before the opening date, but we'll have to, commission all these new vehicles. We'll have to test all the new systems. And so that's going to take time as well to do all that once we get the tracks and everything completed. But we're still on schedule.
So that leads me to my last question here. So as people are driving around construction or maybe in and then back out, what's the one thing you want them to remember when they are experiencing construction in our area?
Well, I like to use the phrase, there's short-term pain for long-term gain. It may be an inconvenience for a while, and this has been for several years, so maybe it's been a longer-term pain for some as well. But I think at the end of the day, what you're going to see when that line opens, that you're going to be able to, have dinner or grab a cup of coffee up on the hilltop. Maybe you could ride the train down and grab some lunch in the Stadium District, and then take the train all the way down to the Tacoma Dome, hop on a Sounder train or a ST Express bus up to Seattle and go watch a baseball game and never get in your car. So we're going to increase everybody's mobility to leave your cars at home. And I think that's an important thing to remember, that you can do everything you want to do and not have to drive everywhere to do it. And that's what mass transit and expanding this system will do for you. And I think, for the city of Tacoma, I think you're going to see a lot of economic development opportunity where people want to get near transit lines and they want to be able to access more transit and not have to worry about the maintenance and upkeep of a vehicle and the payment on a vehicle. So I think it's going to be a boon for the entire community once we're all done.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big game changer for many generations to come. Scott, thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's always wonderful to see you. And good luck with your open house. And don't be a stranger, okay?
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Great to see you.
You too as well. We have much more to come on Cityline, so don't go away. We'll be right back.